You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started. Hey
everyone, welcome to episode 222, which is a cool stinking number of Teach Better Talk podcast. My name is Ray Hewer, and as always, I am with my ridiculous co-host, if you can even call him a co-host, Mr. Jeff Gargas. Jeff, how you doing there, buddy?
Feeling a little underappreciated, but other than that, great. If you didn't refer to me as
you really feeling underappreciated?
Well, I mean, if you can't call me co-host, like what would you call me? Like just
like the guy who keeps showing up, but we don't know why. Go home.
You keep telling me that the podcasts are different times, but somehow I still show up at the right time. And you're like, what is going on?
You keep showing up, and we're like, Jeff, you don't need to be in this episode.
How does he keep getting the links? Who's sending him the links? It's just one of those things.
It's amazing.
Oh, and you wonder why I feel underappreciated. That's
okay, Jeff. I appreciate you. You're so wonderful, so handsome, so smart.
Don't you lie to
You're
me.
just the
Don't
entire perfect
Let's
package.
move on.
That's what you are.
Anyway, actually, I'm feeling really good because we had a great guest on. This was a really fun podcast. I was excited to have Jillian on, as I know you were. You got super pumped when you realized that she was next in line for our podcasting tonight. So that's exciting. I want to get to that episode pretty quickly, but I do want to touch on something. I want to highlight someone if we could, or actually more highlight a blog, which is part of a series that's just gotten started over at teachbetter.com. And it works out really well because if you listen to this on the day that this comes out, this phenomenal educator is also leading our Mastery Chat tonight, which is Thursday, November 5th. And so the Mastery Chat goes on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time over on Twitter. So she's leading that tonight. So it's just kind of a cool thing. Let's highlight her. And that is Erin. And I want to call her Erin Hall because she just got married and that's not her name anymore. It's Erin.
Wait,
Healy.
How dare she change her name? How dare she get married and change her name?
I
feel like we've been connected to Erin for so long.
Yeah, we really have.
I refuse to call her not Erin Hall.
Well,
we've watched her grow in her field. She's fantastic. We've talked about her a bunch. If you're a loyal Teach Better podcast listener, yes, you've heard about Erin Hall before. Yeah. Yes, she's been on. But wait, what's her new last name? Do you know?
Erin Healy. I know.
Well, that's a great last
name.
Her
Twitter changed. It changed. She changed that up. She's rocking.
I just want you to know there's tightness in my chest. I don't know that I can handle this.
I'm connected with Erin on Facebook, so I got to see, the nice, socially distanced, wet and safe, but just beautiful,
so
gorgeous, yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
hold on.
We can say congrats again. On that, so go ahead.
Yes, but go stalk Erin because her wedding, while very safe, guys, it's like a Pinterest beautiful, everything looked perfect, the cake, the flowers, it was the dream. She looked perfect. I just go stalk her photos. That's all I'm saying.
I love that coming not even 3 minutes after how dare she get married. That's the best.
No, I knew she got married. I was so excited when they got engaged. I am a Erin Hall fan. I said, how dare she change her name? I have
the receipts that say that you actually said the words, how dare she get married and change her name. So
okay,
I just want everyone to understand the kind of split personalities type stuff I'm dealing with here. Just how quickly she changes.
Erin,
it's really
Erin, we're really happy for you. We love that you got engaged and married. Yes. We are sure he's a beautiful, wonderful man. We are still not sure how we feel about the name change. I just want that out there. It's fine. Whatever.
Well, let's highlight because Erin's starting to do a brand new blog series over at teachbetter.com for us, which is awesome. And honestly, kind of makes me wonder, why did it take so long? But I'm pretty sure it was our fault, probably. So,
well, we've been addicted over at teachbetter.com/blog. We are addicted to now starting series because what we love is we have all these great authors that write and write and write and write. We're like, we need to get some series together of these authors that always share just such incredible things. So if you go over to our blog site over at teachbetter.com, you're literally going to see there's a ton of different blog series, and they come out every single month. So you can like follow your favorite authors and favorite topics. But Erin, very fitting. Erin is somebody who started a blog series with Teach Better, and it is all about new teachers. So her blog series is called New Teacher Begin Better blog series. And I just thought it was so fitting that Erin always, like from the moment we've been connected to her, has this passion of wanting to prepare, young educators, future educators for really being the best they possibly can be in the field. And she's really strong on mentorship. So she does a ton of work in Rhode Island. Erin is about the most impressive educator out there. I was going to say most impressive young educator, but guys, it's not even that anymore. She's just incredibly passionate and impressive. But her blog that she just kicked off her series with in the month of October was Tech Tips to Teach Smarter. And I know that this is for our newer teachers, like with that New Teacher Begin Better blog series, but these tips are top-notch for any educator. So I don't care if you've been in the field for 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, go check out this blog because there are so many tips.
I think you're going to find that throughout her entire series while she focuses on the new teacher. So much of what she's sharing is going to be good for any teacher out there. So I'm excited for it.
And can I just say, she not only broke this down into like subcategories, so it's super easy, by the way, guys. If you scroll through, like you're going to be able to see sections that you know that you want to jump to right away. But she also has just beautiful graphics in here. There's so many resources she's linked. Like it's more than a blog. It's going to be your starting point to then go find everything you need. Super good.
I like it. So check it out, teachbetter.com/blog. Make sure you go follow Erin as well. So speaking of amazing, awesome, super cool educator people, let's talk about our guest, Jillian DuBois. We've known Jillian for a while. We both are just huge fans of her as an educator, but just as a person too. She's so much fun. And we had a blast in this episode, but she shares a lot. So Jillian is a second grade educator down in Florida. But I'm going to let her tell all the things she actually does. And I love how she breaks this down. Now she breaks down sort of what her role is and what her job is. And then just throughout this entire episode, she just has this infectious level of positive energy, and just excitement and love for what she does. And that's just super cool to me. She's so much fun to talk to. Anything you want everyone to focus on or pull out other than her awesomeness?
I am a huge Jillian fan. I want you guys truly, I know I don't say this because there's so much risk and you like pausing this episode, going and following her because there's a risk you may not come back, but you will come back because it's such a good episode. So like pause here, go follow Jillian on social media, especially on Twitter. Go follow Erin if you aren't doing that yet, and then enjoy this episode. I
love it. With that, and I want to add on to this, just so you know how awesome Jillian is, I already got an email thanking us for having her on. Like that just sums it up right there. So let's get into episode 222 with Jillian DuBois.
Hey everyone, we'll be right back to that episode, but I do want to give a big celebration to the brand new course that was just released in the Teach Better Academy. Guys, it's all about time management. It's called Time Management 101, and it was created by my almighty co-host, Mr. Jeff Gargas. No, for real. I mean, I've learned a ton of time management strategies from Jeff, and I'm thrilled that he's finally bringing this expertise to our Teach Better family. So go check out all the details and this full course over at teachbetteracademy.com and tell us what you think. All right, let's get back to this episode.
All right, we are here. We are chatting with Jillian DuBois. Did I say cool enough?
Yeah.
Was that good? Okay,
that
good. Jillian gave me permission to say it cool, and that's my version of cool, apparently. I don't know. Most of the people that were listening are now no longer listening. So for those of you that are still here, no, super excited. Jillian, we've chatted before. You are such an awesome person and such a brilliant educator, and we're so excited to have you on here and like get to kind of like dive into your story more. But before we get too far into things, how are you feeling right now?
I am feeling actually wonderful, like really, really good. Like things are good in my life. I cannot complain other than sweating.
This is why, Jillian, I need more of you in my life, because even with the sweating you were talking about outside because you're in Florida and it was really hot today, and the car pickup line, which I think is hysterical, and everything in between, Jillian, you just like radiate sunshine. Like, I'm sure people tell you that all the time, but just your voice, like our listeners are listening in their car or maybe when they're getting ready in the morning and they are just smiling and they're looking in the mirror and they're like, I don't know why I'm smiling, but Jillian's talking. You just make people smile. Love
Oh,
it.
that's so sweet. Because, like, a lot of people don't really say that are like close to me, my family. They're like,
Oh
why are you
God.
so nice to everybody else? No, I'm totally kidding. Like, no, my family loves me.
I love this. Jeff says not nice things about me too, but it's all right. So our, I do have to say, for our listeners, Jillian's been a part of the Teach Better family for a good amount of time. We've loved getting to know you, Jillian, especially during kind of like this COVID transition. I just loved being connected to you. And I want to make sure our listeners, if they haven't been connected to you or know anything about you yet, hopefully they become experts and connect with you now. So we always like to start with kind of that silly little introduction of kind of explaining like, hey, Jillian, what do you do? You know, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
So, I don't know what anybody really knows about me, but I have been around for a little while, and I commonly just tell people that, hey, I'm just an ordinary educator here in Clearwater, Florida, who gets to do extraordinary things alongside some pretty amazing students. And usually people go, oh, so you're just a teacher. Like, oh, no, it's so much more complex than that. I always say, nope, I'm a facilitator, a moderator, I'm a detective, I'm an interior designer, an advisor, a coach, stand up comedian, IT troubleshooter. I mean, everything. A teacher is everything, right? So outside of school, I have a wonderful husband and my son, and I love to be in the outdoors. We do everything we can outdoors, biking, hiking, doing all kinds of fun things here in the Florida sunshine. And I love working on personal passion projects, PPPs, my podcast, blogs, little website I kind of have on the side. I don't sit still. I, I have too much energy. I kind of run on like a high octane.
I love it. I love the energy. I'm just picturing the stand-up comedian at this point. But I love how you describe that, all the different things that you are, and you really are. You have such positive energy, and there's so much of it, and I think that's why we love you so much. I'm excited to dive into this question because of all that too. This is a question we talk about failure, and I always say that I've been fortunate enough to fail a lot because I've learned from all that, and it's created the me that I am today. So can you share with us a story, a time that you've had failure in your life, and take us there with you? Like, what happened? How did you overcome that? And then what did you take away from that experience?
I think that one of you posted that same question last week on Twitter. And that is where I first saw it. Like, I had never heard anybody say, hey, what is the like worst time you've ever failed as a teacher? Or the person. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a great question. And I think I even answered it in the 240 characters that I had. But then I started thinking, and then when these questions came through, I'm like, oh, okay. So basically, early in my teaching career, I was under the impression, as a lot of early, just starting out teachers are, that my success was going to be determined by how much content I could pump into my kids perfectly throughout the year. It was not emotional. There was no social emotional learning back then. It was all like content, content, content. It was no fun. I was really not their partner in facilitating their education. I think I was more like the dictator of learning, telling them how and what they should be accomplishing. I didn't give them any freedom. I never had learned how to do that. So it always made me like super anxious to not complete every single lesson in a textbook. I felt like that was what was expected. That's what the students needed. I was not going to leave a learning gap. No, 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 never, not under my watch. So I was that teacher for years. I didn't know how to be empathetic. I didn't know how to show grace. I didn't know how to show compassion. it was an incredible disservice. Although at the time I thought I was doing a great job. I thought everything was going well, but at the same time, I would come home and I was bummed. I was miserable. I was burned out, and I wanted to walk away. I just kind of was like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I hoped it would be. Kids aren't responding the way I need them to respond. I mean, it was one of those, I had to be in control of everything. And I'm not sure I could tell you exactly when that switch flipped, but thankfully it did, because I'm sure it was a combination of professional development somewhere down the line. The evolution of the growth mindset was beginning. All the Robert Marzano books were coming out, and we were having all kinds of conferences. People in my life I sought wisdom from when I was in true desperation, when I just was grasping it. I had no idea what I was going to do. And gradually, I think that because of that, I developed into a better teacher, having let go of that assumption. And the big thing for me was the need to strive for perfection and control. I finally got to that point where I understood that more was not better, that more was stressful and hard and messy and selfish. So that was my big time fail. Yes. There you go. All spilled out.
No, I love that. So now I'm excited for this one. So let's flip it now. Let's do a successful story, and this can be something big or something small. But tell us what happened. Why was it a success for you? And then what did you take away from that experience?
Well, okay, so it's kind of like the story keeps going. So my biggest success stemmed from my biggest fail. So it was actually the day that I did end up walking away from the traditional classroom. I walked away for 4 years. And it was more of a personal issue. My son had dyslexia and ADHD, and paired together for him, those were huge challenges that just became greater and more difficult to navigate as he grew older. So ever since kindergarten, he was always labeled as that struggling student. They wanted to retain him. I remember having conversations with his kindergarten teacher going, he just doesn't know how to read yet. And he just can't do this. And he can't do this. And it was awful. He was that kid who just fought to keep treading water. And eventually it broke his spirit through all those years. So together as a family, we made the decision to homeschool him for high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So I kind of expected resistance. He was, a teenage boy, after all, social, loved his friends, but there was none. The resistance was from me, because I didn't want to leave my friends and my job that I was just growing into, becoming that teacher who was understanding the different ways of teaching and becoming more successful, feeling more successful and more confident in my efforts. So it was really hard. It was hard to walk away, but I did. When we discussed this plan with my son, he cried. I cried. My husband cried. We were all so full of relief. There was going to be no more 3-hour homework sessions every night, no more cramming for tests that were just regurgitations of his learning facts and numbers, and no more teachers who didn't have patience with him and who didn't understand his challenges. It was amazing. We ended up sitting down, choosing our curriculum together, found a homeschool co-op to join, and we just lived life out loud. It was engaging. It was meaningful. It helped our family relationship. It helped him gain significant worth emotionally. He had time for hobbies, a job, and our family. We were so happy. I mean, we had the time we needed to really be a family and solidify our relationships and take trips and have fun and have activities. It was the best 4 years of my life. So I learned from that, because I learned that he was not a student who learned like those kids that sit in desks and who learn to do everything they're told to do under control. I learned to let that control absolutely disappear. What did I take away from it? Overall, student process is greater than content knowledge. it didn't matter. He never wrote a paper in those 4 years. I helped work through a few things with him, but he was successful on his own. He gave me my very own son gave me the best PD I ever needed. I learned how to be flexible. I looked for new ways of teaching with different resources, hands-on activities, tech tools, inquiry-based topics, projects. I mean, it just went on and on and on. We just had so much freedom, and he excelled in his time, at his pace, with his own approach, and I just let him be. And it was kind of like voice and choice before it was a thing. Now it's so popular, but he graduated and I had never felt more ready to return to the classroom. I was like so excited. I was like, I couldn't wait for him to graduate, but at the same time, I was like, come on, because I want to go back into the classroom because I am ready to be that changed educator. And that's what happened. I never looked back, never regretted the process or the progress. I've been pressing forward ever since. I've learned how to forgive myself and just learning to listen and just, I don't know, just learn everything I possibly can and work with my kids. And that's my biggest success.
Ugh, I love that. That story, I was just like hanging on every word. It's such a powerful, important moment. And geez, series of years, that's wonderful. So when it comes to the work you're doing now, I mean, geez, that's one success you've had. I know you've had so many, and that is a massive one. I'm sure it would be challenging, but I'd love for you to identify what has you excited right now about education and all that you're doing.
Wow. Well, this is my 5th year back in the classroom after I took my little homeschool break. Which still, it's kind of funny because I'm like, oh, I took a break from teaching for 4 years. It's like, no, I really didn't. I really had to teach for 4 years, but it was just in a different way. So now I've been back for 5 years. I am just thoroughly enjoying every single moment. We're face to face, all 23 of my kids in one classroom, 16 boys whom I love dearly. Yeah. But I feel so fortunate to have them in that little nest in my physical classroom. Not so much that I have control over it, but their little faces are looking right at me, and we don't have to do, Zooms and assign things virtually. I'm so fortunate to have them, and I just treat every day like a treasure. So we really focus this time on curiosity and wonder. So this is our year of just wondering about everything. These kids, they're second graders, and they are amazing at figuring out how to navigate through this year better than me. It's been challenging. It's muddled. It's chaotic. It's spontaneous, but we're in it together. And my students know, they really know we're a family, and that families stick it out no matter how frenzied and crazy things get. But we've learned how to collaborate uniquely, separately. I know that doesn't make sense, but it does work especially with technology. We can use iPads, our wonderings together. We had a great conversation today about what do you know about elections? Well, second graders don't know a whole lot about elections, believe it or not. They know a lot about what their parents tell them about elections. But so I'm looking forward. The next 2 weeks, we're having some exciting lessons on civics, and just, we're just using our unique character traits to build our relationships together and use all the tools that we have and really truly grow with that authentic agency together. And we're in our second quarter, rocking it. Every day is a beautiful adventure, and I leave school each day with at least one funny story to tell my family. That's my goal every day. Come home, tell my family one funny thing that happened.
I love that goal. I think every educator should set that goal. Funny moments are the reason I teach middle school. I love funny moments. I got so many, and to be able to pick one every single day to share would be so fun.
Yeah.
So
well, like
Jillian,
and you do only have to pick one. It's like really hard.
Right. Like I could go over 3 right now that happened in my 8th hour today, and I would not even like break a sweat, much less thinking beyond 8th hour. Like, how was 6th hour? How was 5th hour? It's so funny. So if you had to give a piece of advice,
story? Do you want a funny story?
Yeah, I would love a funny story.
It's just the one from today. It is honestly, authentically the one from today. It was at the very end of the day today, and one of my little girls, she's my little spirit animal, and she came up to me and she goes, "Did you know that my dad weighs 200 pounds?" And I said, "No, I did not know that." She goes, "Yep, he's trying to diet. He's trying to lose weight." She goes, "But he loves his Snickers, Mrs. DuBois. He cannot not eat his Snickers." I said, "All right, that is awesome. You tell your dad, keep eating those Snickers, okay?" She goes, "Okay." And off she runs. I mean, those are little 7-year-old little thoughts that bubble up in their head. And it's like, okay. But yeah,
Oh my gosh,
her dad loves
so
Snickers.
Awesome.
So anyway.
And you know what? Who doesn't love Snickers? Like, what a great snack to cook.
I mean, 220 calories it's worth it. It's worth it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. That's so funny. So Jillian, if you had to give us a piece of advice, I know that you have so many things you could share. I'd love to focus a little bit on newer teachers, but really this could truly be any educator. What's a piece of advice you'd like to share with them?
Ooh. Well, I think first of all, I would say you get to write your own personal narrative every day. You are in control of your story. Make your experience in education part of your story. It's not separate. It's who you are, and write it from your heart. Write it with a pencil because there'll be lots of erasures, but you learn from each one of them. You really do.
I love that.
That's it.
That's awesome. That's a great piece of advice. Let's keep the fun rolling here. We're going to do the next 6 questions. Your goal, Jillian, is to answer each one in 15 seconds or less. Are you ready?
Ooh, okay. All right. Are you really timing me?
Yes.
Yes, he is. He's like in his recording studio, microphone in front of him, sweatband across his forehead, getting his timer out. I'm telling you, Julia, it's insane.
All right. I'm getting it ready. I'm getting my watch ready so don't blow it. Okay. Because I'm good at these are my favorite. I love quick games. Okay.
All right. What is one ed tech tool you cannot live without?
All the Google tools in the whole world. All of them. Google
She's
Slides,
going to cheat.
Okay.
She's going to cheat her way through this, Jeff. She's going to cheat the whole time. This is why I love Jillian so much. Jillian, you don't have to apologize. Cheat through every question.
Okay. Well, all of them. I mean, that's all one. Right. It really is one. Google Suite. I mean, because that incorporates everything. So sorry. I knew I was going to blow it. Okay.
I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it. Number 2, what's a book you're reading right now?
I'm actually reading 2, Define Your Why by Barbara Bray, and Better Decisions, Fewer Regrets by Andy Stanley.
Who do we need to follow on Twitter or Instagram today?
Lindsay Titus, Chip Baker, and With No Hea. Those 3.
What's a good YouTube channel, website, or podcast for educators to check out?
Tracy Browder and Telegogy podcast.
Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
Okay, after a long day, be intentional to give your family the best of you and go to bed before 9 o'clock.
And what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Let go of the perfectionism trap. You need to loosen your grip and just let that go because you're never going to measure up.
Nailed it.
Loosen your grip, y'all. Go loosen your grip. I like that. That's funny.
Yep.
I think that's trophy worthy, Jeff. I think that she has so many reasons that's trophy worthy, one of which is she started cheating right from the beginning.
I agree.
Wait, how is that cheating?
I'm just saying that, like, when you're like, oh, pick one tech tool, and you're like, I'm going to pick the largest company of technology humanly possible. Anything from them's good with me.
Well, here's my first thought was every single day I use Google Slides. I mean, every single day. So there you go. So, and you can app smash it into everything you want to. So
I'm here for it. That's awesome, Jillian. I want to make sure our listeners can stay connected. So would you mind sharing kind of like your website, your Twitter, Instagram, anything that people can use to stay connected with you and hopefully have some good laughs in the future as well?
Oh, sure. So like just list them. You want me to list them for you?
Yeah, give us just a few key things. And then obviously all this stuff is in the show notes for all of our listeners. They can go check these out.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you can connect with me on Twitter at Jill DuBois 22. I do have a little blog at impartedjoy.com. And Instagram, I'm just Jillian D, JILLIANDE. And that's about it.
And, you can find all the links, all the resources, everything we talked about in this episode over at teachbetter.com in the show notes, as Ray mentioned, as well as the really important links for connecting with Jillian and keeping the conversation going. So make sure you head over to teachbetter.com for all of that. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. And if you can give us a rating and a review, we'd really appreciate that as well. And let's take this one step further. Think of just 3 of your colleagues who need to hear these amazing stories and connect with these amazing educators. And just share this podcast with them. Jillian, this was so much fun. You're such a blast all the time. We were laughing. Not even, I don't want to say too much because there's never too much, but we were laughing a lot. Let's just say that. But really appreciate you coming on, having fun with us again, and just giving us some of your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better.